Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're really getting into FC Barcelona's fantastic 2024-2025 season.
Absolutely. What a campaign.
Yeah, they clinched their 28th La Liga title, bagged the Copa del Rey, and the Spanish Super Cup too.
A domestic treble, basically. Impressive stuff.
And that final league tally, 85 points, putting them 7 clear of Real Madrid. Comfortable in the end.
Though the Champions League semi-final exit, that stung a bit, I imagine.
For sure. But look, today we want to break down what really drove that domestic success. We'll look at the tactics, the players, those key matches.
And then peek ahead, right? See what 2025-2026 might bring.
Exactly. So let's unpack it. Where do we start? This season really had distinct parts, didn't it?
It really did. You can almost split it into 3 clear phases. That helps understand the whole journey.
Okay, phase 1, that explosive start, mid-August to late October. They just flew out of the gate.
7 straight wins in La Liga. Built up a 9-point lead almost immediately.
Some great results in there, too. That late Lewandowski header against Valencia.
Wins against Bilbao, Rayo Vallecano. That 7-0 hammering of Valladolid was something else.
Lewandowski hat-trick in that one. But the highlight of that phase has to be the ElClasico, right? At the Bernabeu.
Oh, absolutely. The 4-0, Lewandowski again twice. That amazing solo run from Yamal.
And Raphinha scoring, too.
Yeah.
They just controlled it. What was it, 62% possession?
Yeah, and the expected goals, the XG, was over 4. Just total dominance. What was behind that, do you think?
Well, Flick system, right. That high-pressing 4-3-3.
Exactly. It was all about winning the ball high, turning it over quickly near the opponent's goal. 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 attackers working really hard.
And it clearly just overwhelmed teams early on.
But, maintaining that kind of intensity, it's tough over a whole season.
Yeah, it certainly proved tricky. Which brings us to phase 2, late September to mid-January. Things got, well, sticky.
That's putting it mildly. It started with that first loss, 4-2 against Osasuna.
And then the massive blow, Ter Stegen's injury, that patellar tendon rupture.
Yeah.
Sidelined for ages.
7 months, yeah. Huge loss. And Szczesny coming in. Look, he's a good keeper, but it wasn't easy.
No, conceding over a goal a game during that spell.
Yeah.
They just looked more, vulnerable.
Definitely. And the losses started piling up. Real Sociedad, Las Palmas at home. Even Leganes beat them.
Plus those draws against Celta Vigo and Real Betis. That winless streak. 8 games across all competitions. That felt serious.
It was. And Yamal picked up an ankle injury around then, too, out for a few weeks in November.
Right, which didn't help. Suddenly that 9-point lead was down to just 3. Why do you think they hit such a rough patch?
Well, losing Ter Stegen was massive. He's not just about saves, he organizes that whole defense.
He's a leader back there.
Exactly. Szczesny was under a lot of pressure, and losing Yamal, even for a few weeks, really hit their creativity, their spark up front.
And maybe teams started figuring out how to counter that initial high press.
Probably a bit of that too, yeah. Exploiting maybe some defensive uncertainties without Ter Stegen.
But you've got to give them credit. Phase 3, starting late January, they came roaring back.
Phenomenal character. That 7-1 win against Valencia felt like a turning point, like they'd reset.
And then they went on that incredible run, 20 games unbeaten?
Across all competitions, yeah. Just relentless.
Including that brilliant 4-2 comeback against Atletico Madrid. Torres with 2 goals off the bench.
Just for sub-performance.
And then another ElClasico win, a crazy 4-3 game. Lewandowski, Yamal again.
Just finding ways to win those big games.
And sealing the title against Espanyol, 2-0. In the end, 15 wins in their last 16 league games. And defensively, much tighter.
Only conceding about 1 goal per game in that final stretch. That shows the adjustment Flick made.
Which really highlights Flick's adaptability, doesn't it? He saw the problem after that slump.
And he tweaked things. Found a better balance between that powerful attack and being more solid at the back. The consistency in that final run was championship-level stuff.
Let's maybe circle back to some specific games. That early 4-0 at the Bernabeu, more than just points, right?
Oh, massively psychological. To go there, dominate like that, score 4. It's sent a huge message to Real Madrid.
You felt that control, the 62% possession, the high XG. It underlined their superiority at that moment.
And probably dented Madrid's confidence for a while, as you'd see highlighted in places like Football Best Moments.
Then fast forward to January, the Spanish Super Cup final. Another ElClasico win, 5-2 this time.
Even after Szczesny got sent off, showed real fight.
Lewandowski scoring, Yamal with some magic, Raphinha's long ranger, Pedri, Torres, a big trophy lift.
Exactly when they needed it, perhaps. During that tougher mid-season spell, winning silverware, especially against your biggest rival, That injects so much belief.
A real catalyst for the strong finish, you think?
I think so. It definitely seemed to galvanize them, like we saw in some of those football best moments clips afterwards.
On the flip side, those losses, Osasuna, 4-2. That really seemed to show the cracks without Ter Stegen, especially on set pieces.
Yeah, conceding twice from set plays there. It became a bit of a theme for a while, that vulnerability.
And the Las Palmas defeat at home, 1-2. Struggling against a team sitting deep, getting caught on the break.
That highlighted a different challenge breaking down those low blocks, especially if Yamal was maybe injured or marked out of the game.
So what did they learn from those bumps in the road?
Well, the Osasuna game screamed, fix the set-piece defending. The stats back that up too, conceding over 6 expected goals from set pieces in the league. That's way too high.
Indicates opponents were getting good chances from corners and free kicks pretty consistently.
Exactly. And the Las Palmas loss showed they needed better ways to unlock packed defenses, find more creative solutions.
And then the Champions League semi against Inter. Agonizing, really. 7-6 on aggregate.
Too close. Both legs were nail-biters. 3-3 in the first leg, Yamal, Lewandowski, Raphinha scoring.
Then 4-3 to Inter in the second leg after extra time, despite Gavi and Pedri scoring.
And again, you wonder about those fine margins. Maybe that set-piece defending issue cropping up at the highest level, that high XG conceded in La Liga, it bites you in Europe.
Yeah, the top teams in the Champions League just punish any weakness, don't they?
Absolutely. So while the exit was disappointing, it probably really sharpened the focus on areas needing refinement to truly compete for that European title. The set pieces are an obvious one.
Okay, so summing up the La Liga win, what were the absolute key drivers? Flick's tactics have to be up there.
Definitely. Starting with that high-energy press that got them goals, but then, crucially, adapting to be more balanced, more solid defensively when needed.
And his use of the squad. Torres has that impact, sub-19 goals, 7 assists in relatively limited minutes. Incredible.
Brilliant management. Using the depth effectively, keeping key players fresh too, like rotating Pedri and Gavi. It wasn't just about the starting 11.
It's a contrast to maybe Xavi's approach, which was perhaps more focused purely on possession. Flick seemed to demand more physicality, that intense press. Raphinha, for example, making tons of pressures per game.
Yeah, a different emphasis, perhaps.
Yeah.
And that blend Flick fostered
Youth and experience. It just clicked. You had Yamal, just 17, having that unbelievable season. 17 goals, 25 assists. That's near Messi territory for assists.
It's staggering. And Pedri pulling the strings in midfield, so consistent.
But then you balance that with Lewandowski, the veteran, still banging in 40 goals across all competitions.
That mix is potent. Yamal's dynamism, Pedri's control, Lewandowski's finishing. It's a great recipe. Yamal's vision at his age is just exceptional.
And we have to mention the ElClasico dominance again. 4 wins out of 4 against Real Madrid in one season.
Unprecedented, really. 12 points directly taken off their main rivals. Huge psychologically, not just points-wise. A total flip from the season before.
It really defined the title race, didn't it? As football best moments often showed, those head-to-head wins were crucial.
Couldn't agree more. Plus their resilience. They navigated Ter Stegen being out, Yamal's injury, that mid-season wobble.
Szczesny still managed a decent save percentage under pressure, around 73%.
And Torres stepping up from the bench shows that mental strength throughout the squad. Flick's leadership must play a part there too.
And finally, that set-piece evolution started as a weakness.
That 6.03 XG conceded tells a story.
But Flick and the coaches clearly drilled them. They got better defensively as the season went on.
And started hurting teams offensively too. 12 league goals from set pieces. Those Lewandowski headers. It became a weapon.
So, turning the page. 2025-2026. Lots to be excited about, starting with the CampNouReturn, right? August 2025.
Massive. Financially, that's huge. Maybe 200 million extra revenue for squad building.
Really?
And just the atmosphere, the home advantage.
Priceless. And getting Ter Stegen back fully fit, that stability in goal.
It's like signing a world-class player all over again. His pre-injury stats were phenomenal. Szczesny provides solid depth now, though there's talk he might retire soon.
And Yamal. He'll be 18. What's next for him? The sky's the limit, surely. On-door shouts, maybe.
Potential is definitely there, but managing his minutes will be absolutely critical. He played a lot last season, over 50 matches. You can't burn him out.
Needs careful handling. Midfield looks strong with Pedri Gavi.
Yeah, Pedri started 47 games, Gavi 40 coming back from his ACL. Both vital, but maybe they need a bit more steel in there. A proper defensive midfielder.
To protect against those transitions, maybe help with the set pieces. Names like Kimmich or Zubimendi get mentioned.
It makes sense tactically. Provide a bit more balance, shield the defense. Up front, Lewandowski, 37 now. Still scoring loads, but rotation.
Yeah, 40 goals is amazing, but he played a lot of minutes. Torres showed he can contribute massively. Olmo adds quality too, maybe a younger striker target, someone like Gyökeres.
Planning for the future there seems wise. Lewandowski can't go on forever, and having options, especially younger legs, makes sense.
So competitions next season, La Liga defense, they have to be favorites, right? After scoring 121 goals overall last season?
You'd think so. That 4-3-3 system is potent, the Camp Nou factor. I'd project 85-90 points again. But Real Madrid will be gunning for them.
Especially after a trophyless season. Mbappe, Bellingham, they won't lie down.
And don't count out Atletico. Simeone always makes them tough. Defensively solid, they'll be in the mix.
Champions League. The big one. First title since 2015 is the dream, and the finals in Munich, Flick's home turf almost.
Adds a bit of narrative. Getting through the group stage well is key. Potential tough draws against City, PSG. It hinges on fixing that set-piece defense and managing Yamal.
What are the chances, realistically, reaching the final?
Maybe around 60%. If they address those key areas, it's a big ask, but they have the quality.
In domestic cups, another treble push after winning the Copa and Super Cup.
Why not? The Joan Gamper Trophy back at Camp Nou in August will be a nice curtain raiser. Super Cup in January. They'll target everything.
Though, that preseason tour to the Far East in July. Need to manage fatigue before the league starts mid-August.
Always a balancing act, preseason. Fitness and revenue versus potential burnout.
Okay, potential roadblocks then.
Yeah.
Injuries seem like the big one. Yamal's workload, Pedri's hamstring history, Gavi needing careful reintegration.
Definitely. Keeping those key young players fit is paramount. The financial side, too. Camp Nou helps the debt, but the La Liga salary cap is still a factor.
Might limit spending. Maybe 50-70 million net spend, unless they shift wages or generate more revenue.
Something like that. They'll need to be smart. And just the rivals getting stronger. Real Madrid will be motivated. Atletico, always dangerous.
Simeone's teams often seem to handle the run-in well.
They do. It won't be straightforward.
All right, prediction time. Boiling it all down for 2025-2026.
Okay. La Liga, I see them getting 85-90 points again. The attack, the Camp Nou boost, they should be favorites.
Champions League.
I'll stick with that 60% chance for the final. It feels cautiously optimistic, but achievable if they sort out the set pieces and manage those key players well.
Yeah, it's a triple.
Definitely achievable. They have the squad depth. Early indicators like the Gamper and Super Cup will tell us a lot. Success really depends on keeping players fit, maybe getting that midfield reinforcement and handling the challenge from Madrid and Atletico.
So, positioned well. La Liga favorites, serious European contenders.
I think that's fair, yes.
Okay, really interesting breakdown. So, here's a final thought for you to ponder.
We've talked about the youth, the experience, Flick's adaptability. But looking purely at that Champions League dream, what do you think is the single biggest hurdle they need to overcome next season? Something to chew on. Thanks for this deep dive today.
My pleasure. Lots to look forward to.
Absolutely. We hope you enjoyed exploring this with us and have your own thoughts on Barcelona's path ahead.